stories, and we'll come back on Friday. You reported this, which was the recent meeting between Bill Gates and Keir Starmer. And you came out with this particular quote, which we'll read again. So Keir Starmer was saying, or his spokesperson was saying, that he was pleased to meet with Bill Gates today and discuss a number of issues of mutual concern, including how the UK best supports global health, equitable development, and how we use the goal of net zero to invest in science and technology to deliver the jobs and growth of the future. So that's all good words.
Yeah, can I just mention, we do know that we spelled Keir wrong there, by the way. So apologies for that.
Sorry, we spelt... Okay, not a problem. Right, so let's go to Breitbart here, because they were also reporting, and I've got to say, some really excellent reporting. So here's a lovely picture of the happy men engaging with each other. Bill Gates meets with UK opposition leader Starmer to discuss global health and climate. And I particularly like this. On Wednesday, leader of the opposition, Sir Keir Starmer, met with Master of the Universe, Bill Gates, in his office in the Parliament. So at least somebody's got a perception of what's happening here, Master of the Universe. So this is part of the commentary. The American billionaire, so it's referring to Gates here, has not commented on the meeting with Starmer at the time of this reporting. It also does not appear that Mr. Gates held any meetings with Prime Minister Sunak on Wednesday. So just an interesting little pickup there by Breitbart. A meeting between Sunak and Gates may present a conflict of interest now he's Prime Minister, given the business ties between Microsoft and Infosys, the Indian tech giant that Sunak married into. Well, that's very interesting. So at least somebody's picking up the possibility that there's something not quite right here. But it went on. It was reported it was reported that during his trip last year, Gates also visited with then Chancellor of the Exchequer, Rishi Sunak. So there's a problem with Gates meeting Rishi Sunak. It's okay while he's Chancellor, but not okay while he's Prime Minister. But as we're going to see, all of this is irrelevant. And Gates was pictured leaving number 11 Downing Street, then Sunak's official office. However, no details of the meeting were made public about what was discussed in the meeting. So at least Breitbart is able to pick up that something is happening here which we can describe as untoward. No minutes of the meeting, so what was being discussed? And of course, it's the same Rishi Sunak, whether he happened to be Chancellor or whether he's now Prime Minister. But let's have a look at what was flagged up to do with the relationship. And Breitbart, to its credit, put a link in through to this press release from Infosys. And it says, Infosys opens its gates to Bill, hosts Bill Gates at Infosys City, Bangalore. So this is November the 13th, 2002. So we've got Infosys Technologies, leading IT consulting and software services, played host to Bill Gates. He spent half a day there. He met thousands of developers and 1,000 info scions. I'm not quite sure what that is about, but I don't like the sound of it. And that press release went on to say that according to the Deputy Managing Director and Chief Operating Officer from Infosys Technologies, we're honoured to have as eminent a person as Bill Gates with us today. India's importance as a global software centre is further enhanced by Bill Gates' visit. Infosys and Microsoft have been working together successfully to develop and support business applications that will best suit our clients' requirements. The Infosys Microsoft Enterprise Architecture Lab is a key initiative. So this is not just a meeting. We've got Microsoft and Infosys working together. And of course, this is intimately linked with Rishi Sunak's family. So let's come back to comment. Breitbart said that while Microsoft founder is not a British citizen, he's worked closely with previous UK Prime Ministers, including Sunak's former boss, Boris Johnson. Indeed, just over 1 year ago, Gates travelled to London to meet with Johnson to launch a 400 million joint partnership with the government to bolster green investments in Britain. So we're back on the trail of Bill Gates and how this man, who is indeed not a British citizen, is able to simply mince into the country and influence the highest level of politician. Debbie.
Very quick observation there, Brian. Today I noticed in Prime Minister's questions that some of the politicians were wearing wheat sheaths. And I found out that today is Back British Farmers' Day. And Sir Keir Starmer was wearing one of these wheat sheaths. And of course, we know that Bill Gates has bought a huge amount of land with regards to farming. So just an interesting connection today. Not all the politicians. Rishi Sunak was not wearing a wheat sheath to back British farming today, but Sir Keir Starmer was.
Okay. Well, let's continue on. So here's a little bit more very good comment. While the Conservatives from Johnson to Sunak have pursued a radical agenda of decarbonising the economy by 2050, the Labour Party may prove a more fruitful ally for Mr Gates, given their pledge to invest 28 billion into green projects if they take control of Parliament. The party would likely be amenable to Gates' ideas surrounding global health, given their previous urging of Boris Johnson to go further with lockdown measures during the Chinese coronavirus crisis. So Breitbart, very interestingly, drilling into the fact that it seems that Gates is in control of a two-horse race. Well, one horse has crossed the finishing line at the moment, but perhaps the real winner is to be Mr. Starmer. So if we just put a few more pieces together, this is one of the pictures which I find incredibly distasteful because effectively it's a billionaires old boys meeting. But the Conservatives were pushing out some time ago His Majesty the King meeting the Prime Minister at Buckingham Palace. And comment here about this particular meeting was Sunak has the distinction of being so wealthy with an estimated combined net worth of 730 million alongside his wife that he will reportedly be the first inhabitant of number 10 Downing Street to have a larger fortune than the reigning British monarch. Does that fill you with confidence, Mike?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And let's remember that Tobias Ellwood was very quick to say that the free market experiment was over and that Rishi Sunak was the man to bring forward the reset. And that, of course, is taking us straight into the globalist agenda. But this was the headline from Breitbart that made me think that really they were starting to undersee what was happening. Coup complete, globalist Rishi Sunak installed as Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. So they were absolutely on the case. And this led me through to this tweet from a Calvin Robinson, another conspiracy theory crossed out, spoiler. And it pointed to a little video of Rishi speaking. Now, I've got to say he was extremely well presented with gleaming teeth, and I'm sure it was pure truth coming out of his mouth. Let's have a look at what Rishi had to say a little while ago.
Today, I'm proud to say that under the UK's presidency, the group of the world's 7 most advanced economies, the G7, is launching a set of public policy principles for retail central bank digital currencies, CBDCs. Central bank digital currencies could be a digital version of money, a bit like a digital banknote that could be used alongside physical notes and coins. Unlike most of the digital money people use daily today, it would be issued directly by a central bank, like the Bank of England in the UK. And governments and central banks across the world are working together looking into what having a digital currency might mean in practice. This includes issues that people care about, such as ensuring users' money would be safe and secure, that it could work with other ways to pay, would be energy efficient and available to everyone. A potential CBDC could offer businesses and consumers new ways to pay in the future. It's all part of the wider story of digital innovation that has delivered benefits to millions around the world and in the UK. The decision on whether to launch a central bank digital currency is for each country to make, and no G7 jurisdiction has yet made that choice. These decisions raise important questions about the reshaping of our economy, financial systems, and the way in which people interact with money and payments. That's why working together and careful evaluation with our international partners is essential. In the UK earlier this year, I announced a new joint task force between the Treasury and the Bank of England to look into a potential CBDC as a complement to cash and bank deposits. We're also hearing from firms, technology experts and others. Under the leadership of the UK, this report today will help support and inform exploration of CBDCs in the G7 and beyond. With these principles, the G7 is leading an important step change in the global policy conversation. The report covers a range of important matters, such as financial stability, cyber resilience, energy efficiency, privacy, inclusion, and tackling illicit finance. These factors should all be considered when designing and potentially delivering a CBDC that would be fit for the future. Our shared objective is to ensure that CBDCs would be grounded in long-standing commitments to transparency, the rule of law, and sound economic governance. The G7 will continue its work in this important area, working with others to enhance understanding and use of these principles. We're excited to be taking a leading role with G7 members in publishing this exploratory work, bringing money and finance into the 21st century.
Well, I don't know how that made you feel, Mike, but I wasn't reassured at all. A CBDC salesman, have you got your CBDC? Do you realise the benefits of CBDC?
Well, I realise what they say the benefits are, yes.
Oh dear. Well, do we trust this man? Let's put him on the screen, complete with the pearly teeth. I thought we should have the priorities, Rishi Sunak. This is my assessment of what his priorities are. Let's have a look. Well, I think number one is his family and wealthy lifestyle. I think this man will protect that over and above everything. Number two, India and his family billions, because of course those billions within the Indian business structure are what really support his lifestyle. So I'm pretty confident that India and the billions that entails are going to be the second priority for him. Number three, he's going to support his globalist friends and business colleagues, such as Bill Gates, because they help keep him in power. Number four, he's going to support the globalist lobbyists and their groups, such as the World Economic Forum and the Trilateral Commission, because that's the political power base that's going to keep him in his lifestyle. Number five, he's going to support the Conservative Party because they really act as his minder and possibly did a bit of grooming as well to get him into number 10. Number six here, he's already declared his support for Israel, so that's clearly a high priority for him. Number seven, he's already declared his support for the war in Ukraine and President Zelensky. And number eight, he's going to support the UK political establishment because that's also protection for him. Viewers and listeners will note that what is missing is anything to do with the wider public in UK. And that is correct because I do not believe this man has the slightest interest in supporting the established general public in UK. Simply not in his playbook. We'll see in the coming weeks.
Okay, let's move on to RUSI, and they published this yesterday, Furthering Global Britain, an overview of UK engagement in Eastern Africa. And this is what they had. They're launching a new RUSI project, Furthering Global Britain, reviewing the foreign policy effect of UK engagement in Eastern Africa, examines how the UK has deployed its development, defence and diplomacy toolkit in Eastern Africa in support of a global Britain agenda. And of course, we've got to remember Eastern Africa absolutely suffering under the weight of various Islamic insurgencies and so on. But it is in receipt of lots of conflict, stability and security fund money from the British Foreign Office. So James Karaoke was speaking yesterday at the UN, and he said that the United Kingdom will continue to stand with Somalia. He was talking about Somalia in this case, and we commend President Hassan Sheikh's determination to defeat al-Shabaab. And I wonder how much conflict, security and stability fund money actually contributes to the continuing insurgency by al-Shabaab. But anyway, that's for another day. But look, let's come back onto the Foreign Commonwealth Development Office spending website, fcdospending.ukcom.org, that we've set up this week and launched on Monday's programme. And I just wanted to highlight one example that we found looking at the data, and it's this. Torchlight Solutions Limited. Now, this is a private security firm. We'll come on to them in a little bit more detail in a second. And you can see that there's been quite a bit of money spent with them over quite a long period of time, up until April this year. But the unfortunate thing is that when we look at Torchlight Solutions Limited, they unfortunately were shut down as a company on the 25th of March this year. They filed for voluntary strike-off, and on the 25th of March this year, all 3 directors resigned. So in fact, from that date, there were no directors, and therefore, under the company's legislation, the company had to cease trading, because you cannot trade without directors. Now, the question is then, who is the who are the people of significant control of this company? Well, it's an organization called Torchlight Group Limited. And when we look at them, they describe themselves as a leading global provider of security, stability, and rule of law solutions to address national and international challenges for governments and corporations. Now, why are we interested in this? Because the Foreign Commonwealth Office, in fact, made payments to Torchlight Solutions Limited, owned by Torchlight Group, after the dates, or on the date of dissolution, or at least the date that the directors resigned, but also after the directors had resigned. So that company received money from the Foreign Office after it had ceased trading. So, well, you might say, well, perhaps that money went to Torchlight Group Limited, but actually, when you look on the database, you'll find that Torchlight Group Limited has separate payments going to it. So there can't be that type of confusion going on. But coming back to Torchlight Group Limited, and we look at one of the